Hello everyone and welcome back to another video where I have a look at a CAE exam question, tell you what the answers are and explain why the answers are the answers. This exercise is from the excellent website flo-joe.co.uk. If you haven't seen or visited or been to flo-joe.co.uk, I strongly recommend that you visit. Plenty of practice questions, lots of great advice. No reason not to go and visit and improve your exam skills. Okay, so in this question we're going to have a look at multiple choice Cloze, question 1 of the use of English paper, just to go over a few basics. Obviously, read through the text before you start answering the questions, get a good idea of context, find out what's going on. It's really going to help you choose the correct answers. Now, this question is a test of your vocabulary skills, particularly your idiomatic knowledge, your use of phrasal verbs, and grammatical structure and language structures or language patterns as well. And with a bit of luck, hopefully you'll get top marks from this question. So let's go through the question. Let's go through this question by question and see why the answers are the answers. First of all, let's have a look at the example question, which is a recent something of language learning, of a language learning magazine. Big clue here, magazine. Series, if we have a look at the answers, series would refer to books maybe, or some kind of other publications. Programs would be televisions. Releases would generally be news releases or press releases or something along those lines. So the only noun which collocates with magazine is an issue of a magazine. So that's why the answer is issue. Now, in the same way, we've got to work out what the answer is for number 1. And the key word here for number 1 is experts. Why? Because we've got to think, if we have a look at the answers, all of these answers, we've got to choose the correct answer, which refers to the area in which experts work. Now, experts don't work in domains, they don't work in branches. Experts don't work in areas, but they do work in fields. So you might have heard the expression fields of expertise. So fields and experts collocate together. Their advice may prove invaluable. Hang on a second, let's see, get my arrow back, there it is. Their advice may prove invaluable for those something a language course. Now, I didn't read it out, but the text is about language learners. We've got here second language acquisition. So we're looking for vocabulary for people who are really thinking about doing a language course, which is important because it rules out A, which is wandering. Wandering is thinking about desires, things that you might need, things that you think are nice, but it doesn't refer to anything concrete or specific. So that's why the answer isn't A. Now, the answer isn't B either, thinking, because if you're thinking, you need to think about something, and that preposition about is not in the text. Similarly, with looking, you look for something, and that preposition isn't in the text, but considering, on the other hand, fits our needs perfectly and is the answer here. So for those considering a language course, and considering means thinking about. So it's a nice formal language, or perhaps advanced language. So instead of saying I'm thinking about something, you could say I'm considering something. It's always nice to use synonyms, particularly in your writing questions. And it also might be a word that appears in the word formation exercise as well. So let's scroll on down to number 3. If proof of your level of proficiency is important, you must make sure that the course on offer leads to a something qualification. And what this is trying to say is that this qualification has got to be seen by others as being a real qualification or a qualification that they can trust. And the only adjective that fits in that case is recognised. A recognised qualification. Not an understood one, not a valued one, not a regarded one, but a recognised qualification. Also, be realistic in your goals. If you don't set achievable aims, you are more likely to give up. Do not be deceived. Something thinking. Phrasal verb, what's the preposition that we used in this particular language pattern? We've got deceived, and then we've got thinking. Now, thinking is important because if this was a person, the preposition would be by. I was deceived by somebody. But this is not a person, this is a thing, a gerund. So we've got to choose a different preposition, and that preposition is into. So do not be deceived into thinking by someone else, which is what the context is pointing at, that the most expensive courses are the best. For question number 5, something around to get the best possible value for money. What this sentence is really trying to say is you've got to go around, investigate, find out where the best deals are. So what's the expression that we need for that? The answer is D, to shop around. If you shop around, you're doing exactly that. You're going around comparing the best deals, finding out which is the best value for money. If we go to number 6, Sandra Miller, a French teacher, and in fact this whole last bit is contextually together, so it's important to consider these 3 questions as a whole. Sandra Miller, a French teacher, tried to teach herself German by enrolling on a something course. Now, the context later on, this is why I said we've got to think about these last 3 questions as a whole. It tells you that she wanted to do this quickly. She didn't want to hang around, she didn't want to waste time, she didn't want to go to a language school or anything like this. So we get from the context an idea about speed, and also that's also reinforced here. You should also bear in mind the quicker you learn a language, the more quickly you forget it. So what we've got here is we're trying to find an adjective which collocates with course, which the correct adjective which collocates with course, which suggests speed. And it's not a rapid course, not a quick course, not a fast course. It's a crash course. So if you do a crash course, you do something, you do a course, and that course is designed to teach you lots of information in a short period of time. Already fluent in 4 languages and with a sound knowledge, it means a good knowledge of teaching methodology. Her chances of, there's a typo here, this should be making, not mailing. Her chances of making progress were high. 3 years something, she remembers little, very little. So for here, we've got to choose the correct preposition to talk about the time which has passed. Now, it's not 3 years from, because we have to say 3 years from something, and that is missing. If there was, for example, then, so 3 years from then from would be okay, but that language isn't there, so it can't be C. 3 years forward, not correct. 3 years onward, also not correct, but 3 years on is correct. Nice little expression which talks about the time which has passed from a certain date. So you could use this, and certainly in British English we use this quite a lot. 2 weeks on, 1 day on, 2 months on, whatever it might be. It's a wonderful expression to talk about the time that's passed. So 3 years on, she remembers very little. She feels her biggest mistake was not to follow something her first experience. Now you can see the prepositions just by my ear. So the thing about follow is that it's a verb which can collocate with lots of different prepositions or particles to form phrasal verbs. The question is which one is going to be our correct answer, because some of these prepositions are going to need other prepositions as well, and we can see this as well. We can see this from, if we have a look at B, to follow on from her first experience, for example. So it can't be on because that needs another preposition. To follow through with, so that it can't be that. To follow out doesn't really fit. But to say to follow up, which means to continue, is our correct answer. So she feels her biggest mistake was not to follow up or continue with her first experience. And then she goes on to explain why. Okay, thank you very much for watching that video. I hope I wasn't speaking too quickly, and I hope that you managed to follow what I was trying to explain. If you have any questions at all, or if you disagree with anything that I said, please leave a comment below the video and I'm happy to have that conversation with you. Also, please remember to visit flo-joe.co.uk, plenty of wonderful resources on that website. And if you're studying from the course books ready for Advanced, Expert Advanced or Gold Advanced, then check out my website cramtheexam.com, where I do videos for all of the exam questions, much in the same way as I did for this video, to explain what the answers are and why the answers are the answers. And of course, another favour to ask: if you haven't checked me out on Facebook or if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please do so. Okay, see you soon.